Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the SellOut show where we are always sold out. I am Dianna Guerin, and I am the irreverent sales girl where my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hi, Dianna. I'm Sean Carroll Sandy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. Because selling like Darth Vader is not cool. You must use the force.
That was a little frightening. Some days you're a Jedi, some days you're Vader. And some days you're merch. Your Reverend Sales Girl merch. Anyway.
Oh, I'm super excited about our show today, Dianna. We have a special guest for you today, and he's a real big deal. He's a big deal. I met this guy a couple years ago when I think I actually had more Twitter followers than him at the point. And then he just exploded. He really has. And very, very well deserved. Very, very well deserved. So today our guest is Jack Kosakowski. He is with Creation Agency, and he is on the leading edge of sales, selling, social media. He's really outspoken. He's very passionate about what he talks about, and also very passionate about moving sales forward and moving people forward and how they sell. So I really like what he has to say about social selling, in that it's not just this religious Bible that you thump and have only one way of doing it. He's really practical about it. So I'm looking forward to all his really great nuggets of wisdom today, and to hearing a little bit about his career too. He's had a great career, and from a couple of years ago, being working at Acton, this fantastic marketing automation software company, to now traveling the globe and working with Creation Agency. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about that from Jack.
Well, I don't know how you landed Jack, but hey, I'm all in. This is going to be great.
Excellent. All right. Well, he should be joining us here in just a second. We sent him the link, and we like to keep our guests on their toes, so we don't send them the questions ahead of time. We really want candid, off-the-cuff stuff, right? I mean, I think and the extras you're talking about, when you do that, I think we get the most passion stuff, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and we get some surprising answers.
That too. All right. Okay. We'll see Jack here in just a minute.
Let's get in trouble with Jack. Here we go.
I can see his name. We'll see his face in a second. There you are.
Yay!
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Jack. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Jack, have you ever met Dianna Guerin?
No, I have not. I don't
Not
think
yet.
Hello.
You're lucky. You're a lucky man now. You can say you've met the infamous irreverent sales girl.
That's right.
That's funny. Yeah, no, my wife and I were watching the one you did about SalesHacker with Max. So I said, I'm going on that show today. And she's like, really? That's weird. We just watched that last week.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I am thrilled to meet you. I'm not going to drop names, but there are some sales experts that tell me that you are the go-to guy. So we can drop names later. But anyway, I'm very, very excited to meet you. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, vice versa. So are you guys live streaming this?
No. We curse way too much to live stream it. We got
I tried live streaming on here one time, and it was just like, it didn't work out too well for me.
Although here's what we will do. We will publish the raw, uncut version with a timeline, and then we're going to edit it down to all the juicy tidbits so that, the people that only want to watch 3 or 5 minutes to get the best stuff can watch that too. So we've got the uncut for the binge watchers and the polished stuff for the not so committed.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'm good with anything. You just tell me how we go, and we'll go.
Awesome. Well, yeah, they say short form video is the thing now, but we have people who will sit and watch 45 minutes of us. So we just left the uncut versions.
So it's our job to entertain them, which is why we have you, because you are a very, very passionate guy.
Yeah, you could say that. I've been told that once or twice in my life. Maybe a little bit too passionate sometimes, right?
No. I was telling Dianna how we met. We met on Twitter. I think Kalina Hanover had introduced us.
Yeah. Kalina was a client, Acton client of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I watched you ascend. That's what we're going to call it, ascend over the past couple of years, and to have this incredible career now. And so I would love for you to tell everyone. So with Acton is marketing automation software, fabulous marketing automation software. That's where we met. And I was so impressed with the sales journey that you took me on that I remember it. I mean, I actually remember, the exchanges and the conversation and how you sold, and just how you just kept showing up with value. And then our relationship is maintained even after that, where it's an exchange of value. I think that's great. So tell us about jumping off point and what you're doing now with Creation Agency.
Yeah. So, it's funny you say that, because that's true. I mean, I think actually, even when I met you, I don't even know if I had started really writing content at that time. I think, it's crazy how things evolve so fast. But so Creation Agency was actually a customer. Jason Sibley, who's the CEO of Creation Agency, was actually an Acton customer of mine, believe it or not, going full circle. And, it was kind of my time to leave Acton. You kind of get to a point in your career, I think, where you just need to move on. They were really, really good to me. And, I thought about doing my own thing. And then, I had a really good relationship with Jason, who was in the UK, who I actually met on Twitter as well, which is funny. And so, we had been talking for a couple months. He was trying to put together some really innovative stuff for a couple of his Fortune 500 customers around social selling. And finally, he just called me and he's like, Jack, like, I've got all this interest, and I would love for you to open up the U.S. division of our agency, because they were the second largest marketing automation agency in the UK at that time, and maybe the first now. And so he said, I'd love for you to open it up. Gave me a lot of equity and just gave me the keys and said, let's go. And so it was me that started January 21st, 2016. The roadmap has kind of evolved, but we do a lot of things. There's about 89 employees at Creation Agency.
Wow.
Globally.
Wow.
Now there's, I think we have 6 full-time people in the US, and that's growing. We'll be to 10 here pretty soon. We're just, we're teaching marketers how to market and salespeople how to sell, marketers how to sell, and, salespeople how to market. That's the easiest way I can explain it.
Well, I like simple things, so that fits just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't get into. Yeah, it gets nerdy if I go any deeper than that.
Ooh, we love nerdy. I love nerdy. Nerdy's where the money's at, baby.
That's true. Nerdy's where the value's at, right? Because the nerds are the ones that got things figured out that nobody else does.
Yeah, nerds unite. Well, I'd love to ask you some questions that. So our target audience here is boots on the ground, phone in the hand sellers. A lot of them are newbies. I think that you either stay in sales a really long time or it's a short-lived thing. And, I in particular work with a lot of new sellers and a lot of new sales team coming, looking at the small business and, new sales teams from the small business. So we, Dianna and I got to talking about this. We just think there's not really enough content or inspiration or truth even out there for real sellers. I mean, there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of fluff, and we just really wanted to paint the picture and give people something to hold on to. And in every episode, we try to give them some real live tools. We have some great sessions, the do-over. Like, wouldn't you like to redo some of your worst sales flops? I want to ask you about that later. So that's really what we would like to do. So the first thing I want to ask you, tell us about your very best crash and burn, like where you just whiffed totally. Do you have a story like that?
Swing and a miss.
I've had a lot of those. I'm trying to think of one that's exciting enough to tell.
I know, it's always so hard to pick for me.
I just did have. I have to say, I just had an enterprise deal fall through that we had worked really, really hard on, and I feel like we covered all the bases. And I think the hardest losses are the ones where because I'm very good in sales. Like, I think you're only good in sales is if you pick apart every sales process, every sales call, especially the ones that you spent some time on. And even if you win them, like, you should be picking them apart, right? Like, where did we actually win that deal along the way? What was the one dagger? Because we all know that happens. Every deal, there's one thing that just, you clicked with the buyer and it went, you just knew, you're like, bam. And this happened multiple times in this kind of process with this bigger customer. And the thing is, it was not about the deal size, because like, yeah, it was a pretty good sized deal. We put a lot of time into it. But I think for me, it's always a learning experience. And I think the hardest thing is we're still picking this thing apart, right? I've told my team, we're going to pick this apart, but we figure out where we went wrong, because we can't figure out where we went wrong. But I know that there's something. And, the lesson out of that is, if you're in sales, every day you have to analyze at the end of it, where was my wins and where was my losses? Mm-hmm. And you have to really short-term understandings of what's happening, why it's happening, and you got to fix it or do more of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many sales reps do that. I mean, if you talk to sales reps, you go, okay, tell me about your last 3 calls. Oh, well, it was good. Talk to so-and-so. Okay. Well, you can ask them 5 questions that they should have the answer to.
Right.
And most of the time they don't have the answer. Mm-hmm. And my problem is that you should have the answer to all 5 of those questions after every sales call.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think sales is a performance sport, and performers, like athletes, singers, great actors, they go at it like it's their job. I don't think sellers often go at the training and the performance piece of it like that's their job. They have coaches, athletes practice. They watch their own footage. They watch their own practice. They watch their opponents. They study them. And then every day, so if you've watched any of these episodes, I coach my daughter's volleyball team.
Yeah, nice.
So much fun. They're, 5th and 6th grade girls, and they want to win. Yes. But, our goal is to get better. Every serve, every volley, every practice, every game. If your goal is to improve and get better, you will win. You have to be able to pick apart stuff and learn the lessons so that you can do better, because I guarantee you someone else is.
And you have to start at like the smallest level. Like if you're new in sales and you don't have new opportunities, right? Like maybe your one missing thing is like, well, I've talked to 10 people this week and I've closed, I'm really good at the selling part. Well, I think there's a lot of salespeople that are really good at selling. The problem is they're not really good at getting the right people on the phone and enough of them to actually practice the craft.
Right.
So they're like, here's where you're actually weak is you're actually weak in the aspect of what are you doing to get into conversations with the right people? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm cold calling. Okay, great. You're cold calling. Now, who are you talking to when you cold call? Are you talking to somebody that can make a decision? Because if you're really good at selling, what that means is there's certain parameters and environment that has to happen for you to actually be in your sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And analyzing that, in sales, we all have weaknesses. We all have strengths. Even at the core, when you start sales, you have to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are in every activity. So if it's cold calling, if you say, okay, I'm going to call 25 people. Great. After those 25 calls, how many people did you connect with? Well, I didn't connect with anybody. Okay, what time did you call them? Right? Simple. What time did I call? Well, I called from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Well, nobody's up at 6 to 7 a.m., right? Or I called from noon to 1. Well, noon to 1 is lunch. Well, I called from 3 to 4. Well, 3 to 4 is when people don't want to talk to you because they're tired at the end of the day. So, adjusting. Now, the other thing is, okay, social, right? I talk about social a lot. What am I doing on social thinking about long-term as a salesperson? If I'm in a sales position right now and I'm 25 years old and I'm a millennial, I'm an SDR, and I don't know a ton about sales, but I know that I love it. I've seen that I'm getting some traction. I've got job security. I can tell that I'm better than a lot of the other people. I'm hungrier. What are you going to do at 25 right now on social to make sure that at 35 you never have to beg or pick up a cold call again?
That's right.
What are you going to do in the next 10 years short-term wins on social. What's your strategy to make sure that at 35, you're the expert and you own the field and everybody calls you, you don't have to call anybody. On top of hitting your quota and making your numbers.
Yep.
I mean, there's just all these things that you have to pick apart, and I think that this is where like really loving sales and really enjoying the journey. Mm-hmm. This is why I've been successful, because I love to pick myself apart. Mm-hmm. I think the most exciting thing about sales is the puzzle of everyday selling, mm-hmm. because everything changes every day. Every rebuttal changes. If I could tell you, it used to be you could go in and you could have a sheet of 10. Here's the 10 rebuttals. Yeah, remember that? I mean, that was like 10 years ago. So here's the 10. You go to training, they're like, here's the train. I call it train the pain. Here's the 10 rebuttals we get, and here's the 10 answers. And you literally could read off a script. Yes, sir. So you're saying you need to save time. Oh, well, we're going to. You can't do that anymore. I mean, especially technology. I mean, every single conversation you have to be so agile, and now all of a sudden, like you're like, whoa, I've never heard. You ever get on the phone, but you're like, whoa, I've never heard that thing before. What?
We talk about training for just a second, because that training is still out there. I mean, I see it. I see, I don't think I have any competitors, but I see other people doing it. I see, and it blows my mind. I have written a couple articles about technique versus skill. We have to train people how to think and how to improve their skills, not training people on techniques. Closing techniques make me want to claw my eyes out. They're some of the worst. Like the hurry up offer and the fear of missing out.
O.J. Simpson close.
And the what's that?
That's the worst.
It is.
It used to be a psychology. I mean, you used to get trained to psychologically beat your buyer. That was how it worked, right? If you think about all the sales trainings, now they're evolving a little bit, but it's like, okay, this is how your buyer's thinking, and this is how we're going to think smarter. And you can't do that anymore. Like, messaging has to get so much more creative. You have to be so much more valuable in the digital age than you've ever had to be in sales. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be so good at not selling that when you start to sell, people want to actually buy from you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's actually one of the things that I love the most that you talk about, Jack, because, there is a story out there that social selling is pretty fluffy. And I think that a lot of the way that people do it is. But the one thing I was really intrigued by with your stuff is you're like, hey, look, if you're going to do social selling well, you've got to be smarter, and you've got to be thinking, and you've got to be thinking strategically. And you bring a whole structure and a process to social selling, which gives you something to really push on and get some real results from. So I just really love that thinking process that you bring to it. And I'm so curious when you say, how do you teach people to walk that line of I'm not selling, but, actually delivering value on social where people are? And how do you train people to even get in that mindset or to think appropriately?
Well, that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem in today's sales training, sales. You've got guys, and I won't say, you got guys in their 50s that write a blog post every day and then tell you that social selling is dead and it's bullshit. You write a blog every day. You make a video every day. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names. I think everybody
here. You don't have to. I just said it all.
Social selling's dead. I wrote 7 books. Like, okay, sales is not marketing. I wrote 12 books. I sell sales training. Like, you guys, sales is marketing, marketing is sales. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared to say it. And anybody who is an idiot. Because you know why? Because the value aspect of selling, we've been training people just how to sell. Salespeople have been taught sell. Buyers have been taught salespeople are assholes.
Yep.
And until salespeople are taught the right way, which I like to call value versus asks, and value selling is not new, but the channels are new. Of how you have this unlimited data where you can connect with people on a personal and professional level proactively before they even 6 months before they even know they're ready to buy. And you can do it in a funnel. I mean, it's like if you cold call, you're 1-to-1, 1-to-1, 1-to-1. Now we've got all these new channels where I can go 1-to-1 value, which is going to go 1-to-many, which is going to start lots of conversations around something that I'm not asking you for anything except for conversation. And a lot of times that conversation should start without me even talking about my product. I can't tell you how many times I tell sales reps, here's an idea. With social selling, what I want you to do is your KPI is you're going to connect with 5 people offline this week, and you're not ever going to talk about your product once. Well, how do I do that? Let me explain something to you. Did you know that if you ask somebody about themselves over and over and over, and you do it with the right motive, guess what happens? It's called the law of reciprocation. You ask me enough about me, you're going to have the competitive advantage over every other sales rep because nobody ever asks me about me unless they want to sell me with their motive. So put a plan together. You have your selling hours and you have your value hours. And then put a process together, which is what are you doing when you're not selling somebody? Because here's what most sales reps do. They beg for business because the SDR sets a call, they set a call, get on the phone. Most of them don't even connect with you on LinkedIn, right? Which is if you're a salesperson, you're listening to this, or a business owner, if you ever have an appointment and you don't know who somebody is, you better first send them a LinkedIn connect with a message that says, hey, I know that we have a call or we have a meeting, so-and-so introduced us. Before I even send the calendar invite, I want to put a face with the name and then let you know that I'm sending over an email and I am super excited to meet with you. Oh, by the way, I just noticed that you're connected to Tim. Did we used to both work with him? You tie commonality and you tie your face. Then you send an email, and in the email you say LinkedIn in the subject line. Hey, just wanted to let you know I just connected on LinkedIn. Here's the calendar invite. Really looking forward to this call. Because you got to tie connections, touches, 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 touches. So that when you pick up that phone, what is your conversation? It's not, oh, hey, I just did some research. Looks like you guys, there's an awkwardness. Like, how do you, like in sales, the best salespeople are the ones you get on a phone with, and within the first 3 seconds, it's like you guys have known each other for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
Yeah.
And it's like, how you have all these tools to do that. So then what happens is you get on the sales call. So you have a good sales call. You figure out qualify in, qualify out. And what you're looking at doing is you're looking at saying, is this the right person I should be selling to? Because if not, I need to go on the call and say, I'm looking at LinkedIn, I'm looking at all these different avenues to see who the main decision maker is, so that I could reference that in the call to the below the line. Hey, I just noticed on LinkedIn your CEO, actually I just read one of his articles and just shared it. Let him know that you're getting connected up high, right? There's all these ways that you're leveraging it. But here's the even more important part. Let's say you have a killer call. How many sales reps go, just killed that call. They needed it, and you go, when did you need it? I needed it yesterday. They needed it yesterday. Okay, great. When's your next call? I mean, this is the decision maker, but they just have to get approval from their boss. Okay, wait, but actually what you're saying is there's a buying committee and that the CEO has to sign off on this, but they're the ones that are going to do the signature, but they're the ones but wait, who else is involved? This is where you go into LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? Because I want to see, okay, especially in a bigger organization, who else is going to kill this deal? Because what happens? I talk to you, the vendor, one-to-one. CEO might even say, that's it. That sounds great, right price. Some a-hole, the secretary goes, well, my brother-in-law's best friend's cousin, he's got the same product. And let me tell you, it's the best. Could we just talk to him? Next thing you know, all of a sudden, you underestimated the secretary who was connected to the CEO that just killed your deal. You didn't even know it. Nobody will answer your calls. Yeah. So how do you protect yourself in this world that we live in? But even more importantly, the next 2 weeks, right? You hang up the phone. They need it yesterday. What do you do in sales in the next 2 weeks? that is value versus ask? Do you send an email after email? Hey, when are we going to get that next?
Just checking in. Are you ready to buy it? Just checking in.
Just circling back. Just wanted to circle back with you.
Yeah, circle back. Can we, when ask, subtle ask, instead of saying, whoa, okay, I'm going to go to their LinkedIn. I'm going to see what's, I'm selling a marketeer. Oh, they have a webinar coming up. Oh, what's their job is to get lead rules. I'm going to go share this webinar, tag them. I'm going to help them generate business in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to use my network. I'm going to go see, oh, you know what? I have a customer that actually is looking for the same product. Hey, you know what? I'm talking to a vendor right now. Let me warmly do into them in the next 2 weeks to the decision maker that, right? What are you doing to strengthen the value piece? Here's another thing. Who else are you working to get connected higher to in there? Because I want to get connected to multiple people in the buying committee before that 2 weeks happens, so that they can see that I'm the real deal. And then they can see, and I can drive curiosity because maybe I'm getting strung along and they never even talk to anybody. But I go and I connect, I'm engaged with their CEO, I engage with their VP, and I just say, I'm super excited that we're going to be talking next, in 2 weeks. And he goes, what? Who are you, right? I mean, simple engagement. And this is where the value piece, maybe even, here's what I like to say is, go to their Instagram. You ever gone to somebody's Instagram? Within less than 30 seconds, you'll know every single thing about them.
Yeah, that's
right? True. You'll know how many kids they have, know where they like to vacation, know what their favorite sports team is, where they like to, what their hobbies are, how many cats they have. If you go online, it's like messaging is the number one thing in the world that we suck at in sales, and it's the number one thing that drives conversations or doesn't drive a conversation. It's messaging in all aspects, right? Email, phone, social, life. So why not go and understand and take the time to understand somebody? Because even if I'm cold calling, there's tools like discover.ly, which is free, which I can do a Google Chrome plugin. And while I'm cold calling, I can pull your LinkedIn profile up. It takes me 2 seconds. Click that button, and it'll tell me all the social channels you're on, and I can go look at one of them. Yeah. While I'm on the phone with you. Maybe I just do it when you pick up the phone. And so if your messaging doesn't have commonality in it, don't send an email. Why do you send an email in sales? If you read your email and you wouldn't answer your own email, why do you send it?
Oh, I don't know if you've caught some of our earlier episodes, but we ripped some emails to shreds. There's so much bad email out there, so much. You were talking earlier about, connect with someone on LinkedIn if you're going to talk to them. Do you remember when I sent you an email from one of your competitors at Act On? This person had sent me a dozen emails, called me 3 or 4 times, looked at my LinkedIn profile 16 times, and never once connected. Not once.
So my thing is connections are very, I say, you got to get visible, you got to get valuable, then you get connected. So I think that salespeople, I think the number one problem in sales today is, I don't know if salespeople are just that bad at selling. I think salespeople are just really bad at value. I don't think they understand that when you try to sell somebody something, you have to give before you can get. I mean, it's the law of life. Mm-hmm. Like sales is no different. I mean, I always used to say this. If my mom, here's the best analogy for salespeople. If you're in high school, you always have that friend that you like to hang out with, and they wanted to spend the night, and your mom would go, no, I don't know, I don't want you hanging out with Johnny, right? So I had a friend like that, and this is actually a real scenario. So I wanted to go spend the night at his place. He was having a little party. We were in high school, and my mom was out of the house, and so I remember I was like, I really want to go, but there's no way if I just ask my mom flat out, she's gonna say yes. There's no way, right? So okay, I went and cleaned my room, which I never did, right? Cleaned the crap out of it, it was it smelled like Lysol. I went and did the dishes, which I hated the dishes out of the blue. I went and cleaned her car, and then I think I vacuumed or something, 4 things, right? And when my mom got home, I was she smells Lysol. What's going on in here? It's I don't know. I mean, just making sure everything looks good. Like I just had this wild hair up my booty, and I just wanted to, make you proud. It's like, hours sinks in, she got a big smile on her face, like, hey mom, like Jimmy's got kind of like something going on tonight. Like I was thinking I could probably go over there just like a little bit, maybe spend the night. Yeah. Like, get people get people in there. People want salespeople won't do anything for the buyer except for asking for their money and asking for their time, the two most precious things they have. Don't be that sales rep.
Yeah.
I have really, so I think it's even new sellers or sellers that don't have a lot of support. That's kind of another theme that Dianna and I are working through too with people. I think there's a ton of sellers out there who don't have a lot of support. But I think I'm trying to flip the switch on this thought that selling is the first place that you have the opportunity to add value to your clients through this process. And it's not just the one email, the two email, the value, but the value of, demonstrating what a relationship is like with you. And it's service. It really is. I think selling is service. You are serving people and delivering value. And if you can flip that switch from thinking, I need this, I need this, I need this. Why are you I've done this. What's the objective when you're calling someone? Well, I want their business. No, that's not our objective today.
Motive. It goes motive. It's motive.
Mm-hmm.
What's your motive what's the motive that you have when you get on a sales call? Is it to sell somebody a product? I hope not.
Yeah.
Is it to build a genuine partnership where you're both going to get some long-term value that's not just ROI? I hope so. Right?
Right. Well, and I think people think that you get in your head, they get locked and loaded on, okay, I got to make this deal. But people buy in increments. I'm going to accept a connection request from you. I might talk to you on the phone. I'm going to get to know you. I mean, we buy in these little increments. So sell in these bite-sized increments too. Yeah.
Touches. You have to start. I think that if you're in any business, you have to have a 5X value versus ask process. Whatever that is. I mean, if that's, let's say that you are a small business. So, we've dissected my mom's business. She's a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
She does really, really well. And, she's kind of transforming over to the digital and doing some of this stuff. But my mom's old school. Like, she's old school. You can't take the old out of the new. It just doesn't happen. And so what I told her was, let's dissect this. Like, her bread and butter is she's Chamber of Commerce. She goes to Chamber of Commerce. She's on the board. She's on nonprofit boards, but she truly enjoys that stuff. It's like her motive is to give back to the community in Iowa that we're from. But like, what happens is that intrinsic value actually drives all her business. Mm-hmm. Because when she's the best at selling is when she's actually not selling and she's just connecting.
Right.
And so I thought about that. I go, think about that as touches. So, think about when you sold to Bob, how many meetings and conversations did you have with Bob? Because this doesn't have to be on the phone. It doesn't have to be on social. This is real life touches. How many times did you have lunch with this person before they give you a referral? I mean, you could start to figure out all these things in your business, put touches to it, because you can actually look and see that they're over time. And we're doing this right now. It's like there's trends. Mm-hmm. It takes 13 touches usually for us, 8 touches that are social and 5 that are phone email. The 6 to 8 of those touches are value. I think the other ones are just ask. So you start to put a process in place and go, okay, is it time for me to sell you? I think patience is huge.
Oh, yes.
Right? Buyers like the sale can't be forced. I believe that it used to be able to be forced. I truly do. I believe that we used to have the power to force a buyer to make a decision because we could bait and switch them because we had all the information.
Right.
But we don't anymore. So patience, and I think this is where sales leadership comes in. Are you building a culture of begging salespeople? Because if you're forcing people to ask for the sale before somebody's ready to buy, mm-hmm. you are killing your sales team.
Oh, thank you.
I'm in Memphis, so we got to preach about that for a minute. You're killing it. Preach. Yeah. So just tremendous information for sellers. And with social, and then just what you said too, the different touches, that it's a long game. You can't show up and connect with someone on social media and expect to sell them. You can't show up in one phone call, one meeting, expect to sell them. Sales is a long game, and don't confuse, crisis of confidence for loss of patience or a lack of persistence. You've got to go the long term. So we're about to wrap up here, Jeff, but I'm going to see if Dianna had a question for you, a burning question.
I have a burning question, and I hope, we may have to take this offline and get the full answer, but one of the things that I think is so important about the show that we're doing is that both Shawn and I are out practitioners, right? Like I have 8 clients. I sell for them every day. I'm on the phone. I'm a boots on the ground. So I talk about what happened yesterday. I don't have a philosophy about how it should happen. I talk about what happened yesterday. So one of the things that I run into a lot is people are just like you. They don't want to be on the phone, right? And I think that's going to get even more prevalent, especially as people don't even have a phone at their desk. And, so my question for you is, as sales evolves, phone used to be the only, phone or in person was the only place where you actually sealed the deal and got revenue. I know you closed a $20,000 deal on Facebook, and I think I've closed a deal on text once, but that's kind of like out of the norm, right? So for our lovely sellers out there who are prospecting maniacs like me, where is the future of the phone? Is it appropriate to prospect on text? Are we going to be doing it completely through LinkedIn? Like, where do you see prospecting going that's moving away from the phone?
It depends on deal size. I think, bigger deal size will never get away from the phone. It'll never get away from in person. Mm-hmm. I think, so chat, I think, Facebook Messenger. So here's a strategy, right? So I used to be a believer that Facebook was like where you don't do business. It's just like friends and family.
Right.
Which is absolutely like the most false thing that I ever believed. And I've had a few people tell me that, and I opened up my gates. So open up your Facebook world, because the best thing you can do is let people into your life. And when people can see that you're not just a salesperson, that you're actually like a really good husband, you're a world traveler, you're a passionate cook. Mm-hmm. That's where like you start to get like people's real attention, especially on like bigger deal sizes. And I've seen it happen over and over. But Messenger, so I've got a strategy is like, I can't be on the phone all day because I'm like you guys, I'm in the weeds. I'm a practitioner. I'm on the phone. I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to work new deals. I'm trying to work new partnerships. I'm actually in the weeds doing a lot of client work because we're in the early stages. So I don't have time. It's not that I don't want to be on the phone. Honestly, there's lots of people I would love to have conversations with on a daily basis, but I just don't have time. So, Messenger, I look at Messenger as touches. I mean, I thought about this the other day. Like, there's no motive behind my Messenger, but when I read a really good article, like I know it's relevant to somebody, I send it to them on Messenger. Like, hey, we haven't talked forever. I hope, just saw you guys are doing really well. Saw an article, like, I'm super excited for you guys. Dude, here's an article that I think will help you. Here's a competitive advantage. So I'm consistently staying in touches, right? I use Messenger to just stay in front of people and be valuable. The most valuable thing you can do is to give people information that can help them personally, professionally. And imagine this, like, right now, I might not even have a motive to sell anybody or even know that they could have my product. But I do have a motive to like keep people informed and educated, because I want people to know that I'm the expert in what I do. And the easiest way to be the expert is to just feed people an unlimited amount of knowledge that you can make yourself so valuable that day when you need to pick up the phone or they need what you have to offer, they'll pick up the phone. You've done a great enough job over time. And what those are to me is just being social. I just love to be social. I love to stay in touch with people. I love to know what's going on. And that will drive your business longevity-wise. I mean, the more people you get connected with, the deeper you make that connection. And the longer that you actually are the one that's staying in front of them and being so valuable that you become memorable.
Yeah. And handwritten notes. In today's day and age, oh my God, I have done so much business with just a handwritten note that goes in the snail mail because, anybody can send an email.
Well, and the thing is, and the other thing is, spend like 10, like I always tell people this, if you're traveling or you're at the airport, or you spend your time and really go on your social channels and go through it. And, don't be afraid to like exciting things that are happening to people. Like, don't be afraid to comment and say, that's funny. Like, when a kid falls off the bike and falls into a mud puddle, like, make a joke, like, wow, great parenting, like smiley face. Like, these are the things that keep you memorable to people in your circle. And these are the things that long-term, you won't even know that they'll come back and help you build your business or your sales growth.
I love what you said, Jack. And so okay, you heard it here first. Jack said, let people into your life, and Facebook is okay. If people don't want to connect with you, then they'll say, no, not interested, but people will connect with you. Okay, Jack, I have one last question and for you. Are you ready for this one? This is what we call the envelope question. I just write crap down in an envelope. You ready?
Yes, okay. I am.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Pizza. You're both pretty good.
I'm not a Mexican food type of guy. Give me pizza all day.
No. Well, let's see. You're in the Southwest, and that's not any more prevalent. You're just pizza. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite pizza joint?
Oh, I like it all. I even like the cheap stuff. I like the expensive stuff. I don't really. I'm not picky when it comes to pizza.
Did you meet your wife in a pizza joint?
No, I met my wife at a bar. Well, I'm taking my wife. I got my wife Backstreet Boys tickets for her birthday, so we're going to the Backstreet Boys.
Nice.
That's very good.
Well, we've got to wrap up. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
To invite you back.
Yeah, this was fun. Yeah.
Thank you for your precious time. It is the most precious thing you can give, and we are so grateful.
Yeah, you got me before 8 a.m. though, so this
Yay! All right, everyone. Jack Kosakowski, Creation Agency. Go connect with Jack on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook.
Love him. Like him. Tweet him.
You guys are making me blush.
All right, Jack. Thank you. We'll tag you and share this with you when we publish it. Okay.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's passionate about stuff. All right, Jack, rev it up. I like how Diana got him wound up. She went,
we are going to get in so much trouble for this episode.
I was trying to wrap him up. I hope.
I didn't know we were on a time. But it's not a problem because all I do is I shove Adobe, are you listening to us? You should sponsor us. All I do is I shove this into Prelude and I cut, snip, and I shoot it out to Premiere, and Tom shoots me a video even with the rough. So we're going to be
totally. That sounds good. That's good. Yeah. Excellent. Well, what a fantastic time with Jack Kosakowski. I love people who love sales. I love people who love selling. It's so fun to talk about. And I love people who want to give their time to improve the profession too. I really do. I think that's great.
Yeah, he dropped some super duper nuggets there. I really hope people listen to that because, man, if you just took what he said today and put a few things into practice and kept that patience and kept understanding the personal touches that are now available, that frankly, I mean, Shawn, there's more out there about your buyer than has ever been available before. I mean, when did you get the opportunity, unless you walked into somebody's office, to see a picture of them on their yacht or skiing with their family or with their dogs? I mean, it's all right there. And people need to use it appropriately, obviously.
You can get more, reconnaissance there than what you can probably through those first meetings. If you don't do that, if you don't do the research and go and get to know them a little bit before, then you don't have as much to talk about. You can't bring them closer faster. That's the beauty of this. Social selling, social media, this is like I say, it's not a silver bullet, but it's a silver lining. You can bring people closer to you. It is the silver lining in this craptastic amount of messaging and information and data that comes at us. It is the silver lining, and that you can go find something that's worthy of bringing someone closer to you so you can have a one-on-one conversation.
That's exactly right. And I love it. What Jack was talking about is, not only, don't connect with somebody to give them high fives and smushy hugs, but, sure, there's going to be some of that. But, if you're delivering value every single, and in this world, I was thinking about this today, in this world of everybody's got to do selfies, right? It's all selfie, 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 which I just think we're becoming so much more self-involved. Like social media allows us to look at ourselves more and see what we're up to. And we get so fascinated with our own damn selves. I mean, I can tell you, I'm watching our YouTube all the time. But it's like not useful. You gotta look over there and see what they're up to and care about what they're doing. Love them, tweet them, connect with them,
their
own language, because they're giving it all to you.
Mm-hmm. And there are people who are not on social, and you have to be able to, it all depends on the product, the maturity of the industry, the maturity of your buyer, the education stuff. But you can still get closer to people. There are things that we used to do before social media came around where you can do this. You just have to think it through and you have to really put a lot of time, effort into getting to know your buyer. Like Jack said, that gold about digging through your sales process, the wins, the losses, act like you're paid to perform. Seriously, act like you're paid to perform and go about your job like it is your job to get good at it, to be really good at it, better than your competitors, better for your customers.
Better for your customers. That's right. Well, I think it was brilliant. Let's wrap this sucker up, and I will take us out by saying, stop hoping
and start selling.
Bye, everybody.